My name is Kieran Ng and I'm a trans girl. I'm doing mathematical science in NTU.
I'm Elliot and I identify as a trans man. I'm studying in NTU.
My name is Lune. I am a trans woman. I am graduating from the National University of Singapore this year, and my course was in English Literature and Philosophy.
When I entered NTU, I didn't plan to come out till after university, when I was financially stable and independent, but that clearly didn't go according to plan.
In the months leading up to uni, I came out to my close friends. Uni is going to be this fresh start. I can be this new me, this new person.
When I first went for the welcome week, I was extremely scared. I knew that this was where I want to start fully transitioning, but it was a very fearful start. When I applied to Tembusu College, a professor emailed me, welcome to the college. Before you come in, we have kind of like refurbished a bathroom at the basement level of the college, which you could use as like a gender-neutral bathroom. Yeah, I was very surprised actually.
Before I moved into hall, I was thinking to myself, it shouldn't be a problem. Getting a double room would be nice because at least it'll force me to interact with someone else. So I just picked the cheapest room, picked the roommate, picked the ensuite toilet, and I just went with it.
This whole idea of having your own space, I was quite excited about it. I think the biggest anxiety was like on the day that I moved in. So I'm going to be seeing my roommate soon to introduce myself as Elliot and then potentially cause her to be like super uncomfortable. I decided not to do that. Even though my plan was to be out in uni, I introduced myself to her as my birth name. And then I think a month in, she turned to me and she asked me like, what are your pronouns? And I didn't feel comfortable basically lying to her. So I just told her, I use him pronouns. She was quite cool about it.
I was in hall 1. The room I was in was a double room, and the room next door was also a double room. So there were 4 people sharing a toilet. What was most unexpected was definitely how strong the dysphoria got. Some of my friends were females and I was seeing how they were living. I want that. I remember one time I was wearing a skirt to like alleviate the dysphoria. I was going to get water and I walked on and I just saw 3 people looking at me and all the people did stare. But I tried my best to ignore it, but like it got to me eventually. And it just feels like I am very out of place. It just felt like what I was doing was wrong. I remember not wanting to leave the room at all. I didn't want to really use the toilet because it was scary. I did have some tendencies. I think I felt sick most of the time.
Some of the misconceptions, that people commonly have is that, they're just confused. But that's not true.
To the patients that I've seen, describe experiencing their gender dysphoria sometimes from a very young age. They say, I just knew I was a girl. It didn't feel quite right when I was called a boy. In adults, we usually observe features like a desire to be rid of certain parts of their physical bodies. Daily routine things like looking in the mirror while getting dressed can cause distress and discomfort. There can also be a desire to acquire parts of a physical body of a different gender that will be treated as a different gender.
They have this persistent feeling of sadness that then can lead to depression.
I was like, I'm not going to be able to hide this for another 4 years. I found the 3 biggest Telegram groups I was in and I just posted my coming out message. So I was like, oh my god, what have I done? It was quite scary, but people reacted quite nicely actually. A lot of my friends were pretty positive about it.
So while I was given the option to use a gender-neutral bathroom, I live very close to the male toilet on the male corridor. It's a toilet that I don't use. I wasn't super comfortable and they'll come out of the toilet half naked. Because of my experiences in NS, being sexually harassed, hearing all the misogyny and the rape jokes, I was quite fearful. Like I wasn't sure whether I'll be okay.
Whether you are a trans female or whether you are a cis female living on the same floor as a whole cohort of males, you start to feel very vulnerable.
I tried to ask every single semester, but I was just not allowed to live on the female corridor by any means. I'm tired, I'm bitter, and I'm just glad to leave basically, so that I don't have to deal with this anymore.
Currently, I do want to stay on a male floor, especially since I'm starting my medical transition. It would be basically inappropriate for me to be staying on the girls' floor. And it's not just going to be uncomfortable for me, but also for my neighbors. I applied for a single room in my hall, so it's 2 people sharing the same bathrooms. I found someone who was willing to share the toilet with me, but so far they haven't gotten back to me about it yet. I don't know how that will go.
I wanted to move to a room on the female floor. I had relevant documents like the gender dysphoria diagnosis. I was seeing the counselor in NTU then, and I could also provide their recommendation. I eventually moved to a single room ensuite toilet. It's on the female floor, which I do appreciate. The dysphoria was definitely not as bad anymore. People actually treat me as a girl on the floor, and I was like, that's really interesting. After I came out, I legally changed my name in June 2021. Sometimes, like, when I get emails and stuff, it'll be with my date name, even though my legal name has been changed already, and I was very confused.
Generally, I would just go in on the first day of class and be like, this is the name on the system, but I go by this. On the whole, as soon as I tell the tutor, they will be like, okay, I'll just use whatever name you want to use.
Another experience where there was a group presentation. Unfortunately, my date name was still in the list. So I went up to the TA and I was like, I'll be using Kieran instead of my date name. And he was like, I don't care. So it's very frustrating because I don't want to be outed accidentally.
Trans people, their new name can represent a new phase of life. So when we refuse to acknowledge their new name or insist on using their dead name, it is invalidating, stressful, rejecting. When you out someone before you're ready, that opens them up to being harassed and bullied. They may be on the receiving end of transphobic jokes.
So when I turn 21, the first thing that I'm going to do is change my name, because when it comes to navigating uni admin stuff, because most of these forms, they will only ask for the name on your metric card. I think slip-ups are understandable, but really, trans people are not gonna cancel you or something. You just like, oh, sorry, and then use the correct name and pronouns and just move on. Most of us just want to be treated normally, really. I had a tutor who sent out a form beforehand, and she was like, I want to get to know you better. So then there was a field for what's the name in the system, and then what name would you like to go by, what pronouns do you use. I found that was one of the most helpful things, making everyone feel comfortable.
Even though I was already wearing clothes that I was more comfortable with. Misgendering happens all the time. It's something that I can't avoid even up to today. And I have not gone for voice training. I don't pass 100%.
The longer my hair is, the less I get misgendered. It's directly proportionate. The way I dress also is quite important.
I hope that once I get started on my medical transition and start looking and feeling more like I think I should, then that will also smoothen out a lot of the interactions.
In the humanities department, all the profs that I have met, they're very cool with it. The same might not be said for places like computer science or engineering, where I've heard of profs who do hold certain beliefs that men should be men or women should be women.
Letting everyone know you're trans is kind of like painting a target on your back. It's really hard to figure out who's transphobic, who isn't, who's bigoted, who isn't, who's misogynistic, who isn't. I had bad experiences before, like getting ghosted, getting ostracized. Overall, it's like a mixed bag. Without Kaleidoscope, I don't think I would even have had the courage to start the process for like hall changing.
Just knowing that you have other LGBT people in this school, that you're not alone, it was a very joyful experience.
In an ideal world, I would be on the female corridor. Administratively wise, we could be allowed to use our salutations on official correspondence or in our emails and that kind of thing.
I want to be able to stay in the room that I'm comfortable in. I want to be able to make friends that accept me for who I am. I just want a lot of the same things that other students do. I really just want to live my life as who I am. A lot of people, they are worried that cisgender guys would pretend to be trans women to be predators. That doesn't sound like the form of trans people. That sounds like the form of predators.